to start? I'm very excited to be here, and I know that many years ago, Randy and I used to always talk about how when you first become the president, you're pretty excited, but the best day of being a president is when you become a previous president. As most people, I think, will understand that it's a great honor to serve our club. And when I look around and see everybody who is here, presidents or not, we have a really phenomenal group. We're very fortunate. So the way this is going to go is I have put the people in the order of the years that they were president. And what I'm going to do is introduce the people, and Dan, who's eating, needs to stop eating, or let Adam do it. We're going to let each of the presidents give a short is what I'm talking about, 1 minute or less, 30 seconds or less, just to say something that was a highlight for your year as a president, maybe some wisdom that you gained by being president of our club, a funny story, or perhaps a disaster of your year as president, which generally are kind of funny. So the first, the most long ago previous president with us here, who's been in the club for over 50 years, is Bill Giswold. That was 1970 to 71.
Started and went to Madison, couldn't go on to Rotary because of the fact that there was only one person for the party. So they wanted to start my own club. Me and Clark Thomas went around all of the businesses on the south side, helping them out. My time was that place that another thing we talked about the fact that how many I have these parking cars and mud. The first started to watch out of the plants.
Thank you, Bill. Next, Marilyn Thompson has already been introduced, and Bill Thompson was president in 1975 and 1976. We saw Marilyn a few weeks ago at Judy Taylor's funeral and said, why don't you come to the past president's lunch? That's what we said. And so thank you for coming here. Good to see you. 1979 to 1980, Don Taylor. And remember, 1 minute or less.
Well, back in 1974, I was introduced to Rotary at the 4-H Yacht Club in the River. And the secretary treasurer, a high school classmate of mine, who I thought seriously about doing in the foot or something like that, because the first day of the next fiscal year, he made me secretary of treasury. Yeah. And then I split the secretary job off to some other lucky guy. And then after that, of course, I was treasurer for a while, and then became vice president, past president, sergeant at arms, rod stand guard, or any other jobs we have. And I did some of them over again, department of arms. So it's been a wonderful experience. And I'd like to thank the whole gang for being here and keeping on the recruiting and bringing in new younger members, at least 2 here today.
Thanks, Don. 1981, 1982, Bob Gorsuch.
Okay, highlight was when we put together a group of Rotarians to buy the property that the Brownstead still operates on. At that time, it was owned by, I think it was the railroad owner, and so he bought it and then donated it as a part the alcohol, I do that every year. One piece of wisdom for, especially for the younger past president, maybe for the rest of you is, and I believe in this, you can't do anything about getting older, but you don't have to get old.
There you go. 1982 to 1983, Glenn Rindfleisch.
Had a very typical year as president, so I can't share anything funny, but I will say something funny. I had a physical last week, actually, I did. And typically in our house, my wife always asks, how did it go? I always say, the doctor said I have the body of a 21-year-old. But she chuckled a little bit, said, well, if you have the body of a 21-year-old, you better give it back because you're getting it all wrinkled. I'm good, thank you.
1984, 1985, George Kroll.
Well, I think the highlight of the presidency was I got $200, $250 from the club to travel to Birmingham, England, for the Rotary International Convention. And it was a hoot. We shared 3 days down in Southern England on the Plymouth with family. It was their family that put us up and showed us all around. And then we traveled all over England. And the funniest part of it was one day we were going to go to Stratford-on-Avon. So we went up to, we were going to go to the convention and then come back to Stratford-on-Avon and then go back to Birmingham and then back to in March. And this lady has seen us map it up at staying with B&B. And she said, well, that's just great to take my car because Stratford-on-Avon is only 22 miles from here. And you're going 150 miles from to get there. That was funny.
1985, 86, Dean Rogacka.
1985, we were in the which is where the Home Depot was out on the road. And one Friday night, I got a call and said, "Oh, we're closing." So we had been talking to Tommy Holter, who owned the restaurant up the hill. It was now a fitness club. I can't remember what the name is. And he always wanted us to go up there. And so I called him and my gosh, we got in there for our next Monday meeting. After my secretary called everybody. And also the other thing is that I think I was treasurer for about 6 or 8 times probably. I was treasurer before I was president. Problems with treasurers. That called upon to take over. Anyway, pretty good experience with that.
1993, 94, Randy Sproule.
I actually have 2 to report on. Back in the early 90s, we went through a pretty rough stretch of road here. Ray Single was the president during the 1991-92 Rotary period. And at the end of March in 1992, Ray died from a heart attack. Ann Randall was the president-elect, so she served as the acting president during the last 3 months of Ray's term. And then on July 1st, 1992, she began serving her term as president. Sadly, 3 weeks later, she was diagnosed with a malignant brain tumor and was not able to continue serving. I was the president-elect. I was pretty new to Rotary. I had been a Rotarian less than 3 years. There was so much I didn't know about Rotary. I mean, there was so much I didn't know. I didn't even know how much I didn't know. That's how much I didn't know. Now, a lot of clubs would have really suffered irreparable damage having an inexperienced knucklehead serve as acting president for 49 weeks. Fortunately, we had a lot of people in this club, a lot of members step up and offer to help out. And it was really pretty neat. It's like every week someone would come up to me and say, hey, Randy, I'll take care of the outstanding student program. Or, hey, Randy, I'll take care of the speakers program. Hey, Randy, I'll take care of the broad stand. It was just amazing the participation we had from the club, which I think really strengthened the club because we had this broad-based participation and a lot of people really vested in the club. So it actually turned out to be a pretty decent year. And in fact, as a result of that year, we adopted a club policy that every 5 years or so, we would elect an inexperienced knucklehead to be club president. And that way we would generate that club support. So I would ask all of my fellow past presidents, to think about yourself, think about the two people who served as club president before you, think about the two people who served as club president after you, and I would ask you to identify the inexperienced knucklehead in that group. And if you cannot identify that person, then, as my mother often tells me, if the shoe fits, wear it. Anyway, so we stumbled through that year. On July 1st, 1993, I began serving my year as club president. We were back on a regular schedule. We had a full slate of officers. Things were going pretty well. In February of that year, a group of us went down to El Salvador on a Rotary Goodwill mission to Arcatao, El Salvador. The Salvadoran Civil War had recently ended. There was a lot of devastation down there, a lot of work that needed to be done. And we were down in Arcatao for about 7 or 8 days. Then we headed back to San Salvador, and on our last full day in El Salvador, we were kind of taking it easy on the beach and enjoying the Pacific Ocean. And sadly, Bill Thompson got caught in a riptide and died. And it was another rough situation. We had lost 3 really dedicated members of the club in a period of about 11 months. So everything else that we accomplished that year was diminished by Bill's loss, but we persevered. And actually, one of the highlights is that in June of 1994, our club membership hit 89 members. It was the all-time high. We've never attained that yet, and it was really a good time to be a member of the club. We met at the Sheraton then. And geez, you'd walk into the banquet room on Monday at noon, and every Monday there'd be 70 or 75 people there, and you could just really feel the energy. And it was a great group of people, and it was a good time to be a member of Madison South Rotary.
He did just take 2 presidents' time, but that's okay because he was there for 2 years. 1995, 1996, I was the president. And one of the things that I remember is we had been a little bit lax on attendance, which at the time they really wanted you to have 100% attendance and make up 2 weeks before or 2 weeks after. I think it was 2 weeks, might even only been 1 week. I can't remember. It was 1 week. It was fairly strict, but we weren't very strict as a club about it. So we had a number of people, probably 20 or so, who hadn't been to a meeting in a long time. So I thought, I know what I'll do. I'll call them all up and say, hey, we miss you. It would be great if you would come back. And that was just the thing that pushed all those people to quit Rotary. And so there used to be a presidential citation. And at the time, there were 4 avenues of service that every president tried to get at least one thing going that year. The year that I was president, they also added attendance to the president's citation, and you had to have at least as many, if not more people. Needless to say, that was the first year that our club did not get the presidential citation. So, yeah, what are you going to do? I'm still here. 1997-98, Louise Bubens.
Well, when I joined the club, immediately I asked Randy Sproule if he'd like to be a member, and he did. So that was kind of my claim to fame, I think. And I think
Was that your disaster? Or your...
Anyway, I really enjoyed being a member. Working at the Broad Stand, and I remember well when we heard about Merlin's house and all the things that Randy said. But all in all, being a member of Rotary was a very nice thing to do.
Thanks, Liz. 1999, taking us into the new century, 2000, Ted C.
Oh, great.
When I first came in today, I see Louise again. Louise reminded me of a story she heard years ago. It had to start at Rotary somewhere. There's a story way back in the day when Jackie and I decided to take a vacation, and at the last minute she got a fun jet to St. Martin. And we ended up on a 1 mile long nude beach, and she said, I remember you just really enjoyed it. I said, so did Jackie. And I have to say thank you, Kathy, because you sacrificed your membership, what am I trying to say, your membership deal. We had the presidential citation award because all the members quit under her term. Thank you.
You're welcome. Service above self, that's my motto. 2001, 2002, Lisa Gibbs.
Under my term, we did up the pizza-thon, which was a great time for us in the Madison South area to be able to go into somebody's house that needed more or less some love and attention on the outside. And to this day, the owner still calls me to be able to go up all of the shutters.
Oh, funny.
So, any of you provisions would like to be as well as you are making sure that we say yes. The biggest thing is service above self and being able to be located in the Madison South area, but also going above and beyond. Service above self is really special, as well as just making sure that people understand that we're here to be able to serve others. Thank you.
2004, 2005, Jackie C.
Well, I had accompanied Ted in his presidency as a loyal wife, but I did everything with the broad stand and all that from probably the mid-90s. So finally, in 2001 is when I joined Rotary, and then 4 years later, I was president. And that year happened to be the anniversary, centennial year of Rotary. And so I decided that I would delve into Rotary's history. And it was really fun. I enjoyed it. I kind of looked at a lot of things that we did with history and going back, and I did a section every week from that wonderful book that I have yet. It's called Centennial of Rotary. And then if anybody wants to borrow it, I'm sure to bring it back, but it's a great book. I read little excerpts from that to start the meetings. And so I remember that, but then the Gooses and Williams and Ted and I all went to the Rotary Convention that year in Chicago. And we had a blast for 5 days. Having lived in Schaumburg, I was able to explore, we explored much more downtown Chicago than we ever had, and stayed there for 5 days. So if you ever get a chance to go to the Rotary Convention, it was phenomenal, but it was a great year, lots of fun.
2005, 2006, Rob Goose.
I was thinking of the convention, yes, this is the shirt I got from the convention. Okay. One of the, during our era back in those days, one of our major fundraisers, actually the president's purse. That we would, sergeant in arms would charge people, not just happy sad birthdays and all this. I was very pleased, I had a major donor to the president's purse that year. Now, the newer members don't realize that Glenn Renflesh for 20, 30, how many years? 33 years ran a track program in Madison. And he had this certain young lady who was a pretty good pole vaulter by the name of
Jenny Sisika.
So every week, Saturday, somebody in the shirt over there would stand up. I got $5 because Dennis Sisika just set a new record in the pole vault. I paid $5,000 plus.
That's good. 2011, 2012, Alan Celine.
I think two things were highlighted in my president of one was the fact that I was the one who was wonderful.
second was that during foundation month in the fall of the year, we presented 19 people and increased the level of getting to the Rotary Foundation and recognized for different levels of things to do, and that was a good moment, and I'm very proud of that.
2012, 2013, Chris Yesbeck.
So I think I joined Rotary in 2007, and kind of sat and just kind of watched and listened and learned from everyone, and then got involved. I think my second year, I think I was club secretary first. So all the new members, make sure you get involved soon, right? Because it just makes it more fun. It's engaged, like Randy said. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to hold a position in this club.
Thanks, Randy.
So my year as president, pretty simple, it's pretty smooth. I followed some really good presidents, Rob and Alan and Bob Vandenberg and Kevin Kachuki, so things ran pretty smoothly. One thing that I remember distinctly, my first year as an officer, I was club secretary, and I don't know how you guys do the newsletter now, but back then, whoever was on the newsletter committee or club secretary, Steve, I think you were part of that. Newsletters back then were pretty stressful, right? It was run by Dick Rayburn. Weekends, Saturday night, we had to have it in by 8 p.m. or something like that, and oh my gosh, that was one of the most stressful times. With the club. So thanks a lot.
2013, 2014, Carrie Grunder.
Well, I think I identify as a knucklehead. I was in the club for a bit, but really for 1 year. I didn't know that. I think this was to have no idea. Sit down and rock. And it's, I mean, here's the different steps you have to do. Here's what you have to do in the meeting, just make sure I would probably be there and do it. So I appreciate that. So that's, I just remember just being a little bit overwhelmed. I did every week, make sure I run the meetings like that. Another thing is Claire Thomas is actually my Rotary. So he was a Northwest Mutual retired general agent at that time, and he kind of steered me into the Rotary. So it's kind of
Oh, that's cool.
wow, it's just fun.
2014, 15, Steve Busalaki.
Well, as a non-rocket scientist, Chris, I thought my year went pretty well. Nothing particularly notable, but no challenges or anything. I enjoyed it. I got to learn a lot more about the club and the inner workings of it. And I did one thing that I thought would be lasting. Do you remember those round badges we had forever? They were really dated, but we need to update that thing. So I went to a place in town and found some designs. I talked to the board. They all liked it and did it. And I felt really good about it. We all had this new badge. The very next year, Aaron Frank went in and changed the badge to the next.
2015, 16, Sean Fisher.
I'll never forget the time that, when Steve Atkins was president, called me at, I can't remember the stuff, but he called and said, the way that you look like president, like, yeah. I feel like he's president. And as people said, for, you know, when you're young, but when you're young and step up and do it. It seemed daunting. They had a great year. Erin was my successor, President Steve helped a lot. One thing in my year that I remember as we're sitting here is that we changed the board meeting location from Alton Box, which we had been there forever. And Aaron Frank was on that because we were trying to save some money, and then we went to like this conference room at IB, which is just a nightmare. No offense to Aaron, it's just that, you know, now we've got that all worked out and it's efficient. But thank you, Bill and the other boys that took the initiative to start a club. We used to be only having to have one person in the classification, otherwise we wouldn't be here. So the other real quick thing is, I think it was Kathy Valley. I think it was Kathy Valley was president then.
Katie?
And she organized Katie Valley.
She organized a trip to Rotary International. And Peter Williams went and it was really cool. We got to tour Rotary International. Of course, you can go in there anytime you want, but we were going in as a club. The president of Rotary International was actually there. So they opened the door and they go, there he is over in the corner. And it's just, that wasn't the main highlight, but it was kind of cool. So if you're ever in the Chicago area, and you should probably call ahead of time, it's in Evanston. I'd recommend going in there. It's really a neat building, and just to think what that does around the world.
Thank you. 2017, 2018, Jay Hinkins.
Thanks, Kathy. You already heard how much Erin likes to change things around. I followed Erin as president. So my goal was really to just kind of stabilize things and get it easy for us. October 31, I was diagnosed with shingles, and that was in my ear canal. So it caused me to have no balance. I had Bell's palsy for about 3 months, where my face was just drooped off. And my president-elect had to step in and run things for what, three months, 3.5 months?
It was a long time.
When it's beautiful face came back in the Rotary.
2018, 2019, Mike Dillis.
Speaking of beautiful face, I want to acknowledge Jay as my mentor. I was recruited by Aaron Frank repeatedly, but I finally acquiesced and said yes. He had started asking me 5 years before I was actually the president. I told him I would do it in the future, so he kept on calling me. And then finally, I knew my retirement plan and whatnot, so I accepted the opportunity. But I was really grateful to have Aaron and Jay both mentor me as we went along. And so I'd like to say that I don't think I was the knucklehead, the knucklehead person. I think I escaped maybe that title, but I'll leave you to draw conclusions. And not 5-year cyclist who might have been the knucklehead. So I was very grateful for the opportunity, and it was a pleasure to serve. And I encourage anybody who has been president, step up and be the president. They're really rewarding opportunity.
2020 to 2021, Tara Ingalls.
Yes, I had the privilege of being your president during a pandemic. Absolutely terrifying. And looking at that list, you're both off the hook. I'm pretty sure it was Keith and I had so many people tell me, had you not been the president during COVID, you don't know if they probably would have. I appreciate very much. My goal going to Pets with Erin was we said, we just want to sustain the numbers we have, and we want to make sure people get re-engaged back into the club. And I was happy to report that at the end of my term, we had a net zero. We lost a member, but we gained a member. So I'm really proud of that.
2021, 2022, Erin West.
So from my year, I was excited to see us come back in person meetings. And we eventually moved back to the Madison South area, being in this space here at Madison, which I love. And the brat stand came back. So lots of cool things to bring back here as president.
Thank you. I didn't mention that the last time we had a past president's luncheon, it was 2019. So it's been a long time since this group has gotten together. And again, just great hearing all the stories, wonderful group we have, and knowing that we will go into the future with the strength that we've come with from the past. Immediately after this meeting, past presidents, please come over here. We are going to get our picture. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Kathy. As with all of our speakers, which Kathy, you are the leader today, we make a contribution to Rotary International's and Polio Plus Fund. We'll do the same in your honor as well. Thanks. We do have extra cake in the back, so if you still want some more sugar, have at it. Next week, the Madison South Rotary Foundation and scholarships will be the program for our annual meeting for those with the club. Ginny Feroz, Mike True, and Randy will be leading that charge. Thank you for being present in person and on Zoom, and remember, service above self. Everybody have a great Rotary week.